Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one I'm live on the Twitch channel, and I'm trying to do something that's fairly difficult to explain, so hopefully I get it right. I will probably be making 2 additional follow-up videos to this, one for multiply gems, one for specifically for buffs. The goal of this is so that you can understand damage at 6-star gold. In particular, gem damage, and what is good, what isn't good in regards to gem damage, plates, characters, so you hopefully can make really good choices. I'm going to start off with some fairly, to me, it's basic knowledge, but I think a lot of people are missing it. First off, every class at gold, except for Hall of Fame characters, I believe they have a 20 or 25% boost. I'm going to say 25% boost, so they're 25% higher. Every acrobat in the game, as long as your stars are filled and your levels are maxed, is going to have 67,949 base blue gem damage. That's their primary gem damage. Secondary is purple. It's less. Not every acrobat's secondary will be purple, but everybody's primary will be blue. Everybody's secondary gem that's an acrobat, assuming filled stars and not Hall of Fame and max levels, will be 56k. And the tertiary gems, the third gems, will be 45. And then finally, you have the crappier gems down here at 32k. So that's every acrobat's the same. We could look at EO, we can look at Tiffany. All of them are the same unless they're Hall of Fame. And in fact, just for fun here, no, don't get distracted, Mherex. Doesn't matter. Not important. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is EO in this has 2 MP trainers. Doesn't really matter why. Ignore it. And she has 2 30% gem damage trainers. The trainers themselves don't matter. What matters is 30% blue gem damage here, 30% blue gem damage here. Okay, that's 60% more blue gem damage. It's everything you total up, you add the 2 together, and then you multiply it by the base, right? So if we hit stats here, we have 108k, 719,000, which is what you get if you take this and times it by 1.60, which is timesing it by 60%. Now, she has other blue gem damage. It's on her strap. You can go to the blue gem damage here, and you can see she has 215% blue gem damage. So, before you get in a match, if you take this 215, then you add the 2 trainers up, which is 60%. That gives you 275% blue gem damage, which you would then multiply by 67,000. That's how much your base blue gem damage is before your opponent's straps, medals, etc. Right? So if we take that 67,900, I'm just going to call it even, and then times that by the 275%, you times it by 3.75. Her base blue gem damage in a match is 254,000 gem damage, but then you have your opponent's gem defense. So let's go into a match against Nikki, who has gem defense, obviously. She's got 20% all gem defense here, and then 4% here, 12% here. So it adds up. It's like what, 40%-ish, maybe a little more, 45. So let's go in here and see how close we are to that 254k. It's pretty close. It's like 225k. $225k. Now, the reason I'm using EO for this is she can turn the whole board blue. So 49 gems of her best gem color, right? And all the classes are a little bit different. Striker's the highest gem damage, Showboat's the lowest, but they're all fairly similar. So she can make 49 gems of her primary gem color, her highest, with 100% strap and 2 trainers, right? 225,000 times 49. Blowing up the entire board is 11 million. She's going to hit a little bit harder because we have some move damage here, and then we might cascade. But expect to see 11 to 12 million gem damage. That's what an entire board of gems with your primary color at gold is worth. For simplicity's sake, just assume 12 million. There you go, 12.9 with the cascade. Basically call it 12 million, it's a good number. Some classes might be 13, some Showboat might be a little less. The important thing is, primary gem color, 49 gems or a full board, is basically going to net you 12 million gem damage. To be good at gold, to keep gold people down, you want at least 60 million gem damage. So that equates into blowing up the board 5 times or 250 gems. So unless a character can get to 250 gems, which you can by multiply, and I'll go into that in a little bit, they're not going to be good. So is gem damage good at gold? Not really. What's good is buffs and multiply gems. And let me show you again with EO how a buff works. So to get there's only 2 places in the game where you can multiply the stats off of something besides the base. One is a character buff and one is boss battle. Let me show you the character buff right here so you can understand. So again, EO's 225k. We're going to take a swipe. None of this is important yet. Okay, she's at 225k. If we were to add 60%, that's just the trainers, right? To the 225k, like we were doing with the other stuff to the original base. 60% of the original base is what was it? Was it 69k, guys? 67k? I think it was 67,000. So that would be times 1.6. It would only add, it would bring the total to 107k. So it would add, minus 60. It would add 40k. So it would bring your total up to 265k. We're going to hit a 60% buff. A buff is multiplicative. Multiplicative? That's a weird word. Anyway, so to figure that out, we take the 225,000 and times that by the 60%, or 1.60, which gives us 360,000. So instead of 265k, which a plate would do if it was a 60% plate, or adding another trainer on, this adds on to the base we already have here. So you can see when I hit the buff of 60%, it's going to multiply off of that 225. And there it is, 360k as promised. So, how hard does blowing up the board hit with a 60% buff? We were at 12 million. I think we hit 11.9. Yes? That also crit. So that was harder than anticipated because of the crit. It adds about 6 million normally. Let me run it one more time. I wasn't counting on the crit. She should be around 17 to 18 million without a crit. Crazy Chef, current meta, you need awesome stuff to be turn 1 and awesome in feud. So yes, like without great stuff, very few people in this game are even remotely good. All right, no crit this time. 360k. $20 million. So she picked up about 8 million gem damage with that 60% buff. Keep that in the back of your mind. Acrobat, 60% buff, blowing up the board, picked up 8 million gem damage. Keep that in the back of your mind. Because now we're going to go to somebody who doesn't have a buff, but does have the ability to add huge chunks of damage, percentage, in the form of a skill plate. So we're going to play Tiffany, and the goal here is not to see how Tiffany plays, so ignore that part. The goal here is so you can see what actually makes characters good in this game and what plates will be good. So definitely don't leave, don't check out on me, because this is really useful information for you. Okay. Same strap. Entourage, she has 99 MP, so we're going to have the same thing, 2 MP trainers, and we're going to use the same 2 coaches, Cody and Ozzy. So everything is identical. You can see we have the 108k, same as we did on EO here. And if you look at her stats here, you can see blue gem stats are the same. It's not times the trainer percentage, I don't think, but I don't understand equations right, Restate, so maybe it is. Because I'm bad at math. Like smart math, algebra math, I'm bad at. Simple math, I'm good at. So you're probably right and I'm probably wrong. But as long as all of that, you add up all of their stats from plates, characters, medals, and then you times it by the base. You take that new number and then you multiply it by the buff. If that's what that equation says, Restate, then yes, that is correct. I only understand dumb, like simple math. I'm not good at complicated math. Perfect. Absolutely correct then, Restate. I know there's a you do the things in a certain order based on stuff I don't know. Anyway, this is without a plate. Just gonna show you everything is still the same. 225k. Tiffy doesn't quite blow up the board, but I'm gonna give you a baseline. We're getting 36, 37, 38, 39 blue gems. EO had 49, so 10 more. So Tiffany, instead of hitting for the 12 million EO did, should hit for about 10 million. Little cascade. There it is. 11 reduced to 10. She had a little bit of a cascade. Everything's still the same though, right? Now, we're gonna put the Tiffy plate on. Don't worry about the fact that this is a rare plate. This is so you can see how little 250% gem damage on a plate matters, or straps and medals, compared to 60% on a buff. All right? So what did Tiffy just hit for there, guys? Was it like 11 million? I think it was 11 million, right? We'll call it 11 million, I think. Chat, help me out if you can. I think it was 11 million. Right around 11. We got a little cascade, but right around 11. And if you remember, EO's blue gem damage was 360k after a 60% buff. So Tiffany is going to add 250% gem damage when we click a purple move. 395k. EO had a 60% buff, and it was 360k. Basically, a 60% buff is equal to like a 225% gem damage skill plate. So if you have somebody with a 120% buff, it's like equal to a 450% skill plate. You know, 120% buff is like proccing a Titan plate twice, basically. So that's one buff, 395k. So if you were to add 250% to any character's gem damage and they were to blow up the board, this is about what you could expect. A few more gems, obviously, so not quite the board, but 40 gems. It's going to add about 6 million. We didn't get any extra. It adds about 6 million. So every 250% you add adds 6 million on the base gem damage. If you're blowing up the board, it's probably more like 8 million. So let's add another 6 million by adding 500%. This should put us to close to 22 million, 23 million, depending on Cascade. $24 million, probably. There's 565K. $24 million at 500% to her primary color. Blowing up the board is not enough, guys. If you're ever wondering if a blast gem guy is good and why they don't hit harder when the Titan plate has a huge buff, this is why. A full board of your primary color with a 500% buff. So like if you take a what's her face? Powerhouse Bree, put a Titan plate on her, get the buff twice, and then blow up the board with a 100% strap, you're probably going to hit for 20 to 24 million because it's not her primary color. You know what I mean? It's just not great. So you got to do more work. Let's see what it is at 750%. Spoiler, we're going to add another 6 million. It's going to be 30 mil. Now, what are we going to do with this information? What is the point of you telling me this, Mherex? I'm glad you asked. You can see 734K. We're going to pick up 4 extra gems, and we're going to hit for basically 30 million. Big Cascade, we're going to hit for 31 million. Maybe 32? 33, because of the Big Cascade? Okay. Why do you care? That is 750% gem damage of your primary color blowing up the board. It's not enough, right? It's not even kind of enough. So gem damage isn't the way. Buffs and multiply gems are. And when you ask about plates, the nearing end is a great example. If you don't know what the nearing end plate is, let me show you. Lots of people ask me, Mherex, who is the nearing end plate good on? And the answer is very few people, and here's why. Ugh. Holy crap, pop-ups Batman. I'm trying to record a video. I don't care about this. Ah! Alright. It doesn't matter. Let's find... This is a really... I'll show you a good example. Who does immobiles that doesn't have a buff? Alright. Alright. So, not counting Bischoff's gear, he makes 21 gems into immobile gems. And this is taking his gear out of the equation, right? The nearing end skill plate is when you make... I need someone with a plate on to find it. Or a strap. I didn't really think that through. I can show it on a lady. It's fine. Everything's fine. There's too many characters on this account. I was doing great right up until this point, and now I've completely derailed and I'm going to lose my train of thought. Alright, you got a strap. Alright, nearing end skill plate. Right. Really? Is it on somebody? Am I blind? I am blind. We all know this. Looks like an hourglass. It's a primary plate. That's why. Right. Whenever you make 6 or more immobile gems, increase all your gem damage by 350%. We just saw 40 gems at 750% net a total of 30 million. So if you ask me, is this play good on cross? He makes what? 30 immobile gems into blue at 350%? No, it's not good. It's going to hit for basically 20 million, right? Is it going to be good on Mutant Andre? He makes 21 immobiles. No, it's not going to be that good. Who could this plate possibly be good on with what we've learned? Well, we've learned what's good are buffs and multiplies. Unless we get a very rare exception, it is super unlikely you're going to be able to proc that plate on a multiply gem, because most of them change immobiles blue. There is somebody it's pretty good on, Hall of Fame Vader, for example, because he has his primary color of 100% buff right here. And he's doing 28 gems with 100% buff, plus Hall of Fame gets a little bit bigger base gem damage to begin with. He's 77k instead of the 67k we saw, plus he's a striker, right? So he gets another 10k base. So he gets to be pretty decent with the nearing end skill plate because he has a buff. Somebody said Captain Lou. That's a pretty good example. Lou has a buff. Actually, he doesn't hit as hard as I would like, but that is exactly on the right track. This is the kind of person I would say you would want to ask, like, hey, can this be good? Increase your yellow gem damage by 95%, 28 gems, very similar to Vader, right? If you had a 100% strap on Lou, but the move charge is higher, that's what hurts Lou, so you can't have as many extras, and all of the extras help a ton with a buff. So Lou ends up being, you have to run like 3 MP trainers, well, 2 trainers and a coach. So it's Braun, it's Kofi, and it's Santa Hogan. So you miss out on a bunch of extra stuff there. And it's 95%. It's a turn 2 win basically all the time, pretty easily though. 2 cycle win rather. But this is exactly the right track of who you'd want to ask about that plate being good on, who you'd consider, because he's got a buff, right? The reason that the 100% plates are so good on multiply people is because multiply people generate so many gems. And that's where I'm going to like close this video. And I'll probably do one specifically on multiply people and plates and why they're good, and one on buff people with plates and why they're good and why it makes such a big difference. But hopefully this is your first step and helpful on understanding who's going to be good at gold, and more importantly, why they're going to be good at gold, and what kind of plates will be good and who they might be good on. Just keep in mind at gold, you basically need to blow up the board 5 times with your primary color, or 250 gems, to hit that 60 million mark, and maybe more like 275 to 300 gems if it's a secondary or third gem, right? Let me know what you think in the comments. If I didn't explain something well, try watching the video again, actually watch all of it. And then if you still don't get it, hop on a stream. It'll be much easier to explain. And let me know what you kind of want to see in the follow-up. 1 on buffs, 1 on multiply gems. That's probably my next 2 weeks on the Champions official channel on Tuesdays. We'll do 1 on multiplies and 1 on buffs, so show up if you want to talk about it there. Thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being on the stream. Good luck out there. Man, my head hurts. I didn't think I was ever going to show up.